very well from her days as a student at Carthage College and now as a highly regarded voice teacher there on the faculty, but now wearing a different hat, and that's really what prompts this visit to the morning show. Sarah is executive director of the Kenosha Symphony Orchestra and has been working very, very hard with the able assistance of some student interns to create some very, very exciting new events for the Kenosha Symphony as they are about to usher in a new season. And these are exciting times for the Kenosha Symphony, and it's great to have this opportunity to take Sarah into the studios. The last time we talked, actually, was not about anything regarding Carthage or the Symphony. That appointment hadn't yet probably occurred, but way back in January, was it?
Yes.
Sarah had one of the lead roles in the production at the Lakeside Players at the Rhodey Opera House of the intriguing and delightful musical Avenue Q. And so we had Sarah in the studios at that time, along with, was Joe Cardamone the director?
Joe Cardamone.
Right.
And Jack Lambert.
Right. We had a great conversation. But anyway, today it is all about the Kenosha Symphony Orchestra and some exciting events coming up in the near future in anticipation of the opening night of yet another Kenosha Symphony season on the 18th of October. So Sarah Gorke, we welcome you back to the morning show.
Thank you for having me back.
First of all, tell our listeners, to whatever extent you're comfortable, how it is that you have this new position. Is it something you were going after? In what way does this involve a sort of a natural progression to you versus kind of a dramatic stepping away from other things you've done?
Sure.
Fill us in on how this connection was made.
Yes, that's a fair question. As you mentioned, I am an adjunct professor of voice at Carthage College, but I am also the music department's ensemble tour manager, which means I plan and implement and execute mainly domestic tours for the music ensembles. And through that job, I sort of found a passion and a heart for crossing things off a to-do list and sort of figuring out a puzzle that would involve an actual production of sorts. And so with that, I sort of was looking for something more, something that I could expand upon that resource and sort of find something within the area that could maybe cultivate that talent that I felt like I was really, it was sort of buried somewhere deep in my musician side, that I actually had this linear sort of thought process as well. And I just happened to find out basically about the same time I was looking for something different. I found that this position at the Symphony was open. And on a lark, basically, I gathered my resume, I compiled my CV, and I submitted my information to the Kenosha Symphony, just as an attempt to see if it was even something I could even explore. And I was lucky enough to secure an interview and went through the interview process with, at that time, the president of the board of directors and the vice president. And it turned out that they were excited about what I had to offer and what my vision for the symphony itself was. And so I've been in the position now since the middle of March.
Wow! So juggling a couple of different things,
Yeah.
that must be an interesting challenge to, in a sense, have your heart in several different places. What has that felt like?
Well, Greg, as you know, you are also a master juggler of sorts. And so for me, it's sort of refreshing. I really can't imagine doing the same thing day in and day out. And so I'm very thankful that I still get to fulfill the side of my music career in the form of teaching, in the form of dabbling, with some freelance opportunities to sing and to perform. But then to also have an opportunity like the tour manager position and the executive director position. The executive director position for the Symphony is only a part-time position. And so I'm very thankful that Carthage is flexible enough that I can make everything work. And so far, it's been an exciting ride and an exciting journey. We'll see how long that stamina lasts.
Going into this, what did you sort of anticipate this would be in terms of the position and its responsibilities and it would feel like versus what in fact it is? Have there been surprises for you thus far?
Yeah, I don't think anyone quite knew what this position would entail. The Symphony itself had dabbled with an executive director position or a general manager position over the course of its 75-year tenure. But this is the first time in a while that it had been reinstated. And the Symphony itself was in a very different position at that point than it had been even, say, 10 years prior. And so I think I went into the position knowing that I didn't really quite know what it would be. And so I'm not actually a risk taker, so I'm surprised that I was excited to take that risk, a calculated risk nonetheless. But I think what I've come to find that's different than what I anticipated is that it actually takes way more creativity than I did anticipate, because there were so many opportunities to capitalize upon, given that it is our 75th anniversary season, given the opportunity to get ourselves into the community a little bit more and to encourage the community to come back or to explore us for the first time. And so for me, that has been the most exciting opportunity, is to actually use my creative skills and to find ways to bring excitement back into the community for the symphony itself.
So it wasn't just pushing numbers and alphabetizing files and
there
some
is
of that
that
stuff.
Too, well, absolutely. But
that isn't all it is.
Exactly, and I guess I did anticipate that being the majority of the experience as an executive director. But it's so much more than that.
What was your connection to the Kenosha Symphony ahead of even applying for this position? I'm pretty sure that you've done at least a little bit of singing with them.
I have. When I was actually a senior at Carthage, I participated in their youth concerto competition, and I was a co-winner with a tubaist at the time. So I had an opportunity to perform at their youth concert in, I believe it was the year 2000. But then also, once I moved back to Kenosha after getting my master's in Chicago, I have had an opportunity to perform with them in an ensemble role with Musici Amici once or twice, and with another ensemble. So I was very familiar with the organization itself, but admittedly, I'd never found a way to really carve out time to just go as a patron. And that's something that I feel a little regretful about, but excited to see the new exciting works that we have planned for this season, to see who else will come out of the woodwork.
Right. Well, and of course, in a sense, that speaks to one of your challenges,
yes,
which is to reach out to people who, in a sense, are like yourself,
yeah,
young professionals who for whom the symphony, in one way or another, not for you entirely off your radar, but in a sense not sort of in the mix of your life the way now you sort of wish it had been.
Absolutely. And so as a young professional, like you mentioned, well, not even young or old or as any professional or any person, it takes a lot to sort of get us off the couch at the end of a busy work week. And from what I have found, especially in the classical world, there's such a stereotype that classical music is boring or unrelatable or just for the elite of the elite. And a little bit more about me, I actually grew up in a small town in central Wisconsin, and I showed cows at the fair. And so growing up, I thought, what does classical music mean to me? That has nothing to do with my life. But as I've come to an understanding, of course, over my tenure, is that classical music is for everybody, and classical music can be fun. And classical music is everywhere. You watch any commercial, any movie, and you're surrounded by that classical music and engaged in it. And so what we have to do as a symphony is not just make it about maybe the piece itself, but the events surrounding it, the understanding of the pertinence of the work, and the excitement that the work itself can invoke within us all.
So tell us your sense of where the symphony was/is as you took over the reins. I mean, I can tell that you've done some study of this ensemble's long history,
yeah,
with, of course, a particular concern and attention to where it has been more recently.
Yeah.
What is your take on in a sense, the state of the symphony at the moment?
I think with any organization that has been around for 75 years, much like we have, any relationship that lasts 75 years is bound to have ups and downs, and bound to have good and bad, and bound to have stories that have been shared through the community itself. What I appreciate the most about those stories that are shared is that the community still very much cares for us and about us, and despite those ups and the admitted downs, I think that no one wants to see the symphony go away. And I think that's a unique challenge, because in a community like Kenosha that's big enough to sustain an orchestra for 75 years, it's also a small enough town where people do talk and word does get spread, and people are easily burned out by an organization. And for 75 years, it takes a lot to reinvent that, revitalize, and to sort of show something new. And that's really what I've come to understand, is that people are looking for it not just to be a concert, but looking at it from a community perspective. What can we give back to the community? And that's really something that I'm so excited to explore a little bit further. The Symphony itself was established in 1940 and was actually created through the Department of Recreation, through the city of Kenosha. So from our very inception, it was very community focused and very community oriented. And I think somewhere along the way, we sort of lost track of that. Not that we ever gave up on it, not that we ever lost specific focus on it, but I think we really lost track of how important the community actually is to our very existence.
My recollections as someone who's been part of it is I vividly remember when a decision was made for probably some relatively valid reasons to take the symphony into more of kind of a semi-professional direction in terms of trying to elevate the quality of the music making. But I remember the discussions which occurred at the time about the risks of that and the danger of that, of having a stage full of musicians, many of whom would be complete strangers to the audience, not people necessarily that you knew. Not that there weren't any people from Kenosha still in the orchestra, but a rather dramatic move was made away from an orchestra really almost completely populated by musicians from here to look elsewhere. And of course you end up then with musicians very able, but in a sense with less of a connection to the community from which the orchestra originally sprung. It really presents a tricky picture, which probably in the ensuing years has been handled better at some points than it was at others. Does that sound like a good summary?
Absolutely, and it's a discussion that is still being had, and a question I get very often, just even in my short amount of time here, what that means. What does a professional orchestra mean? What does it mean when the majority of our members don't live in Kenosha itself? But like any business, whenever someone comes into your city and spends an amount of time there, we are thankful for that, in a sense that our musicians live very close to Kenosha. They may be living in bordering cities, but it's not that they never come to Kenosha. It's not that they don't offer their patronage to the businesses in Kenosha. When they're in rehearsals, many of them stay at hotels overnight because our rehearsal process is a very expedited process, about a week before the concert itself. They dine at our local restaurants. They go shopping downtown. They are just as valid of patrons in the city of Kenosha as anyone else. And so we very much encourage their patronage while they're here, and are thankful that they are surrounded but want to give their time to Kenosha specifically.
It reminds me, too, that approximately the same time that move was made to have more musicians from out of town, that's also the first time the Kenosha Symphony hired a conductor from out of town. In fact, that first conductor, I'm thinking of Thomas Elephant, lived in Montana.
Right.
and of course, then there have been other conductors also from sometimes far, far away, which has also presented challenges, although I think some of those conductors did an admirable job of trying to foster a close connection to this community, even if they didn't live anywhere near here. Of course, the Symphony's current conductor is somebody who is actually very close by, and who seems to have gone out of his way to take this part of the responsibility seriously. Tell our listeners about the conductor of the symphony and your relationship to him.
Our music director's name is Robert G. Hasty, Maestro Robert G. Hasty, and he teaches at Northwestern University and lives in Evanston. But my relationship with him has just really been hit off from the start. We have a really great rapport. He has just sort of, in my eyes, gone above and beyond in terms of that community outreach, finding ways to get up to Kenosha. For those of you that were in attendance on Saturday, July 19th, you saw him leading our flash mob at the Harbor Market. So little opportunities like that, he finds a way to make himself known. He bikes up from Evanston sometimes on his bicycle even, and he really believes in the power and the importance of being not only just a face of the orchestra, but a face within the community itself as well.
So how do the two of you share responsibility in terms of planning events and helping shape the season, and what is the relationship of the board to the two of you in terms of making plans? Yes.
Anyone that's familiar with nonprofits sort of knows the role of the board of directors and the executive director, and the music director itself is a sort of a precarious and fine line flexibility of understanding. But basically, at the end of the day, Bob has the ultimate say in the music for the season. But I have some goals within that season. So, for example, involving more community members to participate within the music making itself, whether it be local choirs or local guest artists, whether it be tributes to the city itself or to our history. And so I presented him with these concepts for each one of our concerts throughout the season. And we met actually at a Mexican restaurant down in Illinois, halfway between Evanston and Kenosha, and we spent about 3.5 hours just sorting through the potential of the season and working together to see what we felt could be the most powerful and poignant impact within the music making and within the community understanding of that music to have our 75th season in particular be very important.
So we have a couple of events ahead of the season itself, which I know you're excited to talk about, and one of them involves something that sounds so intriguing. On the 26th of July, you're calling it an instrument petting zoo.
Yes. So the Instrument Petting Zoo will be taking place at the Harbor Market on Saturday from 9 a.m. until 2 p.m. And the concept of this is basically we encourage guests of all ages, children of all ages, I'll say, to touch the instruments, to explore the instruments, to take them apart, to put them together, to see the fine intricacies of these instruments that are making these beautiful sounds up on the stage, but in a sense we feel very distant from at the same time. So it's such an intimate experience to listen to a concert, but such a distant experience to not really understand what's going into that music making. So we're going to have zookeepers, basically our interns, and other volunteers will be there showing how to put the instruments together, encouraging people to, if they took band even for 5 months in 5th grade, and they always thought, gosh, I wonder if I could play that trumpet again, or if I wonder if I could even make a sound on the clarinet. Come and try. Come and see. Kids that, just like to make noise, come and play on our drums and explore the instruments and just really see up close and personal what all goes into the music that you're hearing at a symphony performance.
So where will that be?
That will be at the Harbor Market, downtown Kenosha, and we haven't been assigned our booth yet, but go up and down the strip, and you'll find us. We'll be the one making the most noise, I think.
And then I know that you are very, very hard at work on an enormous event which comes up then on the 22nd of August.
Yes.
And this is exciting as you put together a gala to celebrate the orchestra's 75th anniversary.
Yes. We're so thankful to the Kenosha Country Club, the beautifully renovated Kenosha Country Club, for offering their space to us for the evening. The event will be taking place from 6 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. on August 22nd. And we are going to have live entertainment. Many members of our symphony will be performing music, both as a quartet and a quintet throughout the evening. We have a diamond that has been donated by Herbert's Jewelers that we will be auctioning off. So you have a chance to win a real live diamond. We have wonderful raffle prizes such as main floor tickets to any lyric opera performance. We have Chicago architecture tours that have been donated. We have Racine Theater Guild tickets, Milwaukee Ballet, Milwaukee Bucks. All of that is able to be won at the event itself. We will be having heavy hors d'oeuvres and a cash bar. And basically, it's a chance for us to just sort of thank our patrons for the past 75 years, but to just gather for one evening and sort of celebrate the history of the symphony and look toward the future of the symphony itself as well. Tickets are $40 per person before August 1st and $50 after August 1st. You can access tickets very easily if you go on our newly renovated website, which is www.kenoshasymphony.org. And our homepage has a button right there to access tickets for the gala night itself. Our sort of tagline is, guests are encouraged to dress classy and leave happy. So it's a chance for everyone to sort of dress up a little bit and just have a wonderful night.
And that's at the Kenosha Country Club?
It is, yes.
A beautiful place to have an event like that.
Yes, we're very, very excited about it.
I know you're also excited about the free concert, which is scheduled for the 5th of September in Penoyer Park.
Yes. So I created a 75th anniversary task force. I understood the potential of a 75th anniversary and wanted to find a way to best capitalize upon that opportunity. And so this task force met, and we sort of gathered our minds and found an idea with this free concert to the public to just, again, gain exposure and another way for us to say thank you to the community that has so faithfully supported us over these past 75 years. So we actually met with the mayor and proposed this idea, and we're very thankful that the city supports this event, and so we're hoping to make it an annual event, so we're calling it the first annual Shindig on the Shore. But it will be an event that will feature pop-style music. The event will go from 6 to 9:30 p.m., but the concert itself will go from 7 to about 8:30, and we're going to be having vendors, and we're working on getting a malt beverage permit, so fingers crossed for that, so there will be malt beverage available, concessions, a children's play area, and a learning zone in addition to the concert itself. We're also very excited to share that the KUSD Summer Strings Program will be joining the Kenosha Symphony for a few pieces that evening. So it's a chance for students within the Summer Strings Program to play side by side with professional musicians, which is a really unique and really lovely opportunity. And at 8:30, there will be free cake that we'll be passing out and singing happy birthday to the symphony for our 75 years.
I like that, too. September 5th at Penoyer Park. And then, of course, the official season.
Yeah.
We're not even into that yet. So, first of all, generally speaking, what has a typical season of the Kenosha Symphony entailed in the last year or two?
In the last year or two, we've gone to about 3 concerts per season. 2 classically oriented programs, and then a holiday pops with more contemporary music. And this season, in support of our 75 years, we have chosen to extend that to a 4-concert series. And so our season opens on October 18th with one of the absolute masterworks, which is Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, which is a huge undertaking. But we're very, very excited about the events surrounding the evening, including the concert itself. The whole month, basically prior to the concert, we're working with the Kenosha Public Library, Kenosha Community Media, RG Productions, and Carthage College to have a cultivation of excitement and understanding of the piece itself, of Beethoven's Ninth, of Beethoven's life, of the culture of the time. And so the public library will be holding listening nights, listening parties to sort of get an understanding of the piece itself. They will also be holding book discussions about a book surrounding Beethoven. RG Productions, which is an old-time radio company, they will be producing a radio broadcast that actually surrounds a script that deals with Wagner and Beethoven, and how Wagner, a very young Wagner, wants to meet Beethoven. And he goes on this pilgrimage to Beethoven, and Beethoven's working on his final Ninth Symphony, which is wonderfully tied in, of course. And the really, all those are very exciting, but the really cool, in my opinion, documentary following the Ninth is going to be shown at Carthage College in collaboration with Kenosha Community Media. And this documentary showcases the impact of Beethoven's Ninth Symphony around the world. So in third world countries, in first world countries. And basically the premise is that music is for everybody, both music making and music listening. And it just really shows how encapsulating a music experience can be. And that all leads up then to the Kenosha Symphony producing and performing Beethoven's Ninth Symphony on October 18th. We're so excited about our soloists and our guest choirs. Melissa Cardamone is our soprano soloist, and Melissa is a Kenosha resident, actually, but she has an amazing and expansive bio. Allison Hull is a voice professor at Carthage and at UW Parkside, and she is our alto for the evening. We have two males coming in from Chicago. Alan Taylor has performed with the Kenosha Symphony before. And one of the most exciting new developments is that Carthage Choir, members of the Carthage Choir, will be joining another ensemble from the Chicago area to be the guest choir for that evening. And we're so excited about Carthage coming on board, especially considering our new partnership that has been announced with Carthage. And we feel that this is a really exciting way to just really blast off that partnership.
So that concert is on October 18th, Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, one of the towering masterworks of music history. Why don't you sketch the rest of the season, at least what is known at this point, or maybe all the details already are in place?
Yeah, we're very excited and rapidly completely confirming and solidifying everything. December 14th is a 3 p.m. matinee, and that will be our Holiday Pops concert. And one of the exciting things is we will be inviting adult choirs from the area, church choirs specifically, to join us to sing the Hallelujah Chorus at the end of the evening. And so we're excited about bringing adult choirs in for that, again, giving them a chance to perform with the Kenosha Symphony. There will be the Nutcracker Suite, part of the Nutcracker Suite being performed that evening. As you all will identify, if you ever have seen Fantasia, you'll understand that music very rapidly there, in addition to some other holiday favorites. That's December 14th at 3 p.m. at Ruther. And then April 18th at 7:30 p.m. is our concert entitled Our Town, Your KSO. And so this concert is a way for us to sort of pay tribute to the music that was happening in 1940, which is when the Kenosha Symphony itself was established. One of my very late night insomniac moments came with understanding that Aaron Copland was producing music at the exact same time that the Kenosha Symphony was instated. And so in 1940, actually, Aaron Copland's work, Our Town, was premiered. And so in an effort, of course, to thank our town, our Kenosha community, we feel this is very exciting for us to be able to perform Our Town by Aaron Copland, in addition to two pieces of his from the Tenderland, and very excited that the Tremper Chorale, directed by Mrs. Polly Amborn, will be joining us as the guest choir for that evening. We will also be performing Dvorak's Ninth Symphony as a tribute for that evening. So we're very excited about that night. And then our season finalizes on June 13th, and that will be a Pops-centered concert. That will be at 7:30 p.m., and we're very excited, actually, to travel to University of Wisconsin Parkside's Bedford Hall, newly renovated and built Bedford Hall, which is so beautiful. We're very excited to try out that space and to go a little bit further north, and that will be Pop-centered. We're sort of welcoming in summer. The caption is Summertime and the Livin' is Easy, so we'll have some Gershwin tunes and some movie music like from Pirates of the Caribbean, for example, that sort of pay tribute to the warm weather that we hope we'll be having by next June as well. And that will be our finale of our 75th season, and very excited, obviously, by that time to have announced our 76th season and what that will entail.
Terrific. That is a great, great lineup. One of the things we've not touched on too much is the connection that you mentioned briefly between the Kenosha Symphony and Carthage, a newly minted relationship. What can you tell us about that, about what that relationship is? Well,
what I can tell you is that we're so excited about it. I have, for example, 4 interns for the summer that have come directly from Carthage College and have just been an amazing, amazing workforce for the organization already. In terms of the partnership further, it includes personnel. It includes help and insight on the PR and marketing side of things. It involves resources. It involves sounding boards between the arts community within the city itself. And it definitely makes a statement on both of our sides that we trust and believe in the impact of each other's organization and are very proud to see what that collaboration and what that partnership will be able to develop into.
Very good. So what do people need to know as we finish up today? What's most important? Probably, among other things, the immediacy of this upcoming gala.
Yes, exactly. So what I would suggest doing is just giving yourself a couple of minutes and checking out our newly designed website. It's very accessible. It has all of the information that you'll need. It's a very simple web page, just www.kenoshasymphony.org, and everything you'll need from that point forward will be online. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you have any concerns, please feel free to contact me personally at admin, ADMIN, at kenoshasymphony.org, or call the Symphony office at 262-654-9080. One thing that I do just want to mention just quickly is that the Kenosha Symphony itself is a nonprofit organization. We are a 501c3 organization, and so all contributions and donations are 100% tax deductible, and so we definitely rely heavily and are very thankful for the support of our donors and patrons.
Very good.
Thank you.
So lots of things to mark your calendar for, including the Instrument Petting Zoo at Harbor Market on July 26th, this exciting gala on August 22nd, and remember the ticket price goes up a little once October 1st hits, so if that's something you can commit to before August 1st, you have a little cheaper ticket to purchase. And the free concert in Panonia Park on September 5th, and then opening night for this 75th anniversary celebratory season of the Kenosha Symphony with Beethoven's Ninth Symphony on the 18th of October. And Executive Director Sarah Gorke, you have a lot to be excited about, and have already, of course, generated plenty of excitement in the community with what's already been planned. So we wish you and the Symphony the very, very best.
Thank you very much.
I'm Gregory Berg.